These three questions will solve 80% of your business's problems. Question number one, how do we get in front of more people? The answer, traffic. The more traffic you get, the more people you're in front of. You can get traffic organically and you can get traffic through paid acquisition. Examples of organic channels are posting on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, right? Whatever. Another way you can use organic is email. You can build an email list. I think email's still a sleeper. You can send out email. For our clients, I reckon we've generated maybe 600 grand just off email, right? And obviously we've generated millions for our clients, but 600 grand is not bad just off emails, right? So that shows that it still works, right? Okay. Paid acquisition can be Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, Snapchat ads, TikTok ads. It can be retargeting ads, right? Meta ads. Meta owns Instagram and Facebook. So there's paid and organic ways of getting acquisition. And of course, there's something that I still use to this day, which is what we call sweat equity, which is just going out there and making it happen. Getting on the phones, face to face, pitching, communicating with strangers, telling them about your product. I'm not personally, especially if you're a business doing sub 5 million a year, I'm not a big fan of like radio advertising unless you have a very niche targeted market. I'm not a big fan of billboards. I'm not a big fan of flyers for the most part because it's a bit harder to track the ROI. But with Instagram or with Facebook, I can be like, okay, if I put X amount of money on this ad, I'm going to get X amount of impressions. I'm going to reach X amount of millions of people. And then I can quantify my return on investment because I can calculate the ROAS, return on ad spend. Even organically, I can be like, okay, this week, if we had 3 reels hit 10,000, out of the 3 reels that hit 10,000, okay, this one was the one that generated the most leads. And of these leads, 2 of them signed up or became appointments, right? So that's question number one. Question number two, how do we make them believe that we are the obvious choice? This is positioning, okay? So positioning involves a few things. First thing is making sure that you are, what's the word I'm looking for? That you look like you are congruent. So for example, when I'm on LinkedIn, right? My vibe on LinkedIn is a little bit less casual than my vibe on Instagram. On Instagram, you know, I might be wearing a hoodie, I might be walking around, I might be off the cuff. But on LinkedIn, I'm usually wearing glasses, usually in a suit, or it's like a static image of me looking professional with like some long copy, right? So you need to adapt to the modality of each social media platform to best leverage the positioning on that platform. On Instagram, getting the blue tick is a method of verification. It's a method of social proof. Therefore, it is a version of positioning. When you look at the highlights section on Instagram, there are different testimonials that I have across SEO, paid ads, content creation, all these different things, right? And these things, again, allow me to be positioned as an expert in my field. On my Instagram, there's a picture of a teaser of me and Ty Lopez's podcast, right, that I ended up doing. Even if you go to my website, clientbusiness.com. My website, I think, has maybe generated me 1 new client this whole year. My website is not what I used to get, like paid. It's funnels and then like using organic and paid acquisition systems and sweat equity, right? Majority of I think I maybe got 1 client from my website, but that's because I understand where my key positioning anchors are. And even if you go to my website, it's a video of me and Ty Lopez literally above the fold. So above the fold is where, like, when you go on a website and you don't have to like scroll down. So it's the thing you see immediately above before you start scrolling. So that video of me and Ty Lopez is above the fold. Therefore, again, it positions me as an expert in my space because Ty Lopez literally trademarked the term SMMA, right? He's a goat of the space. Shout out to Ty Lopez. Nearly $1 billion marketing guy. He's done literally, like, if you watch his video, he's done over like $800 million in a year. Right, this guy he's no joke. He's legit. Okay. And question number 3 is, how do we turn one sale into many? This is what we call retention and upselling. Okay. So if you're particularly in a service-based business, when it comes to getting more customers, what you need to do is once you get to like 10 or 100 customers, especially if you're a service guy, you want to create what's called an SOP, a standard operating procedure. And an SOP allows you to document the way you got something so you can then pass it to a new hire, a new contractor, and you can repeat that behavior with some sort of ramping period. I'll give you an example. For one of our appointment setters, we had SOPs that are maybe 2 or 3-ish years old, but they weren't very clean. But nonetheless, I made a really good hire, and it was a ramping period. By month 1, there's no real expectations, just like learn everything, get consistent with the calls. And then by month 2, I need X amount of opportunities from your appointment setting efforts. This guy, within the second month, literally like the ramping period goal of month 2 was like 8 ops, he got like 12 or 15 or 20, like super good sales guy, right? But again, it's because we had an SOP for him to grow into. Now he's a sales leader and he manages a blended team of people that are in Australia and in the Philippines that appointment set and sell for us as an agency, right? So again, you want to have an SOP that is not only retention and upselling for clients, but also within your own team. Now, when it comes to clients, it's a similar kind of thing. Okay, what SOP, or customers, what SOP led to X result? Maybe it's baking cookies. When we bake cookies like this leads to most customer satisfaction. I write it up on a Google Sheet, make sure that the team reads it, make sure that they understand, they tick the boxes at the end of each month, go through the SOP, make sure that they're following it at the end of each week, whatever. And then they're also going to know the buying signals when someone wants to upsell. Okay, you did this, and this, amazing. Therefore, if you want to also, once they buy a cookie 5 times, by the 5th, 6th time they're buying a cookie, be like, look, you're a regular customer. We value you as a customer. Here's a discount. If you now buy 2 cookies, you get 25% off. Now they're going to be more inclined to buy 2 cookies nearly every time they come. So these things are very, very easy, not easy, simple ways to fix a lot of core problems in your business, because a lot of people don't spend enough time fixing traffic, fixing their positioning, and then fixing their retention and upsell. But if you do that, you will literally more efficiently scale your business. And I'm telling you, this is someone who's running an agency that has 35 plus staff and is on track to literally doing 6 figures in a month within the next 2-ish months based on just Stripe recurring revenue, right? Last year, cumulatively across our ventures, we did around $500,000, and I was 24 years old last year, right? So I'm not just speaking out of my house, I'm speaking from experience and from someone that's generated, in the neighborhood between $4 to $10 million for his clients already online, right? So know what I'm doing, this works. And if you integrate these things, you'll be surprised how many problems you solve in your business. All right, peace.